Creative Communities meeting. If we can have the recording started, thank you, Steph. It's in progress. Good morning again. I declare the meeting open. Thank you for being here. So there are no apologies. We have everyone in attendance, which is very cool. And there is no confirmation of minutes because there are no previous minutes. We're in a new triennium. That's cool with. And no late items of business for consideration. So we do have some declarations of conflicts of interest. So we just need to go around the room and check those out for people, and because we need to record each person saying what they have. Alicia?
I have no conflict.
Great. Sue?
I have no conflict.
Okay, that's good. I'm assuming Janine doesn't have any conflicts. No? Ben?
Yes, I have a conflict with application 16 for DIY comedy, as I've made that application myself.
Very good. And I have a conflict on application 12 for the mural op shop wall, and on number 18 for the revamp of the rec centre. Cool.
No.
Alison? No, there were no other conflicts down there. Very good. Do I need to move that? No, great. Excellent. All right, well, let's get started. So welcoming Kane Reid, step into the hot seat. Outside, it's cold. Yeah, that's right. Thanks for coming along, and thanks for your application to the committee. Would you like to tell us a bit more about what you're applying for?
Yeah. So first off, I'm Kane. So, well, I wasn't born in Feilding, but I was bred in Feilding. So I guess my application's around, I've been drawing pictures forever, since as long as I can remember. And pretty much the whole community, like through the years, have been telling me I should probably do something with them. Joe being one of those people. And at the start of last year, I thought I would listen to them after about 30 odd years of drawing. And I decided to go see Karis at the Feilding Arts Centre. Didn't know who she was, but I walked in there and showed her some things. And she said, oh, you need to do an exhibition. And I'm like, that's the plan. So I thought I'd get serious about it. And I've got very serious about it. I've been drawing a lot. So I think one of my pictures takes about anything between 60 and 120 hours to complete. So I spend probably anything from 4 to 8 hours a night after work doing that. The idea behind it all is to step into the art world, but start where I started. So I was bred here, so I wanted to come to Feilding and put them on display for the Feilding people that have been telling me to put them on display. So that's the whole idea of doing it in Feilding and nowhere else first. I think I'm going to have about 14 pieces ready. Yep. So this exhibition is basically, we called it Inspired By. So it's inspired by musicians, pretty much the ones that have inspired me through life, because music's like, it crosses over everything. It doesn't matter who you are, what gender you are, what race you are. You know, the music's music, it's its own language. So I started drawing artists that I grew up listening to. And then I've had people commission a couple of pictures once they started seeing them. So there's everything from Elton John, Freddie Mercury to Metallica, Chris Cornell. I'm doing Lemmy right now from Motorhead, if anyone knows who that is. Got John Lennon. So not really picky on the artist in themselves. It's just if they inspired me or someone's asked me to draw them because they inspired them, that's why I'm drawing it. And another goal of mine is to get more people into the art centre in Feilding. Different people. Like, I've been an artist for years, and I never walked in there until maybe October last year. Yep. Never been in there. Walked past the thing and just was there. And I figure if I put some of my stuff up in there, then we might get some other types of people going in there, which is just going to help everyone in the big picture. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Kane. Yeah, your drawings are amazing. I've seen
Thanks,
them.
Joe.
And yeah, they're
Yeah,
fantastic.
well, you've helped me along the way. I do listen when you tell me stuff.
Does anyone in the committee have any questions for Kane about his application?
Okay, I'm Ben. It mentioned in your application that something about a workshop. Are you able to just give us a few more details about what that
Yep.
would involve?
Yeah, basically looking to do a workshop. The idea is, Joe's an art teacher. A lot of people have artistic talent, they just don't know what to do with it.
Hmm.
So I figure all my stuff's done with a ballpoint pen. So like the pen sitting in front of you right now, I could pick up one of those pens and draw what I draw. I've upgraded my pen a little bit, but it's still a basic ballpoint pen. So I just want to show people that are sitting in the back of art class at school how I learned how to draw, because it wasn't my art teacher. It had nothing to do with my art teacher. So I just want to show them how I go through my process to draw, and show them that if they practice and refine it, what it can turn into. So the workshop's going to be based around just the basic skills that I use to produce my art, my pictures. Yeah, it's literally, I just want to open people's eyes up to what's possible, what you can do. And that you don't have to be in that certain loop. Like how I taught myself how to draw probably goes against everything that an art teacher would say.
Mm.
But I can show somebody that's that way inclined. You know, this is how you don't have to be following sort of that path. You just do what you do and it comes out the other end, sort of deal. So yeah, basically the workshop's going to be based around the basic techniques that I use, and trying to show them and inspire them to just play with their pens and see what they create, and not do it because someone said it's the wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
Because I got told at high school that I could never be an artist. I'm never going to sell a thing.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure I've made more money than my art teacher now.
Is the workshops going to be costing money, or are they free to the public?
I do not know.
Haven't worked that out
That's
yet.
that lady's job.
Yeah.
I just do what I'm told, Joe. You know
So
that.
it'll be at the Art Society.
Yeah, it'll be in the building arts.
Fetus, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, just a follow-up question. Do you have like you've sold pieces before?
Yeah.
Do you have a rough idea of what you're expecting to make from the pieces if they do sell? So
No idea if they'll sell, because art's art, and you can never ever gauge who's going to buy your
Yep.
pictures. The last one I sold was $1,500, $1,700 actually. It's the biggest one I've done though. It's like shoot A2.
Yeah.
I mean, if you break that down, 120 hours divided by 7, it's not a lot of money.
no, it's the story of the arts.
Really enough to pay for the pens, but that's not why you do it.
Yeah. No, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. There'll be the range on price range for them will go from 900 up to about 2,000, because I have older pieces that I've had put away for this reason. So
Cool. Thank you.
Alison?
Probably most of the questions on here have already been asked. Hi, I'm Alison.
Okay.
So one of mine was, I was going to ask about the workshop. I like the idea that it's self-taught art, and probably like me was doodling in maths class, not what you learn.
I'm not very good at maths.
I quite like doodling with a pen too, but mine are a little bit more abstract. But there are a range of people out there, perhaps particularly young people, who haven't found a way to express themselves, and this is quite appeals to me what you're doing. And so that you just talked about how big one piece was. Are they all quite big?
So they'll be all A3 size up to A2 size. A2 is about as big as I can get my pen to. It's like after that,
Yeah.
it's scary. But yeah, they're all A3 and up at the moment. So
And they're going to be framed.
yeah, they're all, yeah, I've got to
Yep.
frame. I've got quite a few that I need to frame. That's part of the reason for the grant is expensive to get them
And
framed.
also, I'm sure if you talk to Joe, you'll know that you need to, while you can sell the original for a certain amount, and make sure you sell prints as well.
Yeah,
because
yeah, I've been doing a bit of
Big
that.
you get an online following.
I've known Joe for a little while now, and he
So,
helped me out with tips along the way.
yeah, no, look forward to seeing them, and I wish you well.
Thank you.
Cool. Any other questions? Sue.
Sue James. Lovely work too. I had a
Thank
lot.
you.
Exciting. Would you consider presenting your work with plain art glass as against the museum glass?
What's that, sorry?
You've got a quote here.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
So
it's-
with the plain glass?
Yeah, I know it's very reflective and it's not ideal, but when you're looking at a work in a gallery, you can look past that.
It's more about protecting the art.
Yeah, museum
with
glass
the
is
pen.
premium, but
Yeah, we've done it before, but the pen will fade in the sun. You have to find somewhere where you can't put it in the light, otherwise it augments the pen colours quite quickly. So we were doing normal glass, but now I've been told that the pictures have got so good they have to go behind museum glass just to keep them. I mean, I don't know if that's true. I'm not a judge of my own work, but it's what I've been told is they're at a standard now that they need to be framed at that standard too.
Yep.
So that's the reason behind that, and it's protecting the glass.
thank you.
That's great. Thanks, Sue. Any other questions or comments? No, I think that's great. Thank you, Kane.
Thanks, Joe.
Appreciate you coming in.
Easy. I'll get back to it.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers. Okay, great. So, great. So now we are inviting Karis to come and sit in the special seat, the hot seat. Hey, Karis, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. All right, welcome to the committee. And you are speaking to your application about the, from the Fielding Arts Society, affordable art classes. Yeah, would you like to tell us a bit more?
So at the moment, the Fielding and District Art Society delivers 16 after-school art classes per term. Those are 8 classes for ages 5 to 8 and 8 classes for children aged 9 to 12. That project started off with the support of this council about a year ago, where initially we were just running 10 affordable art classes for one term, run by one tutor that was suitable for that age 5 to 8 bracket. That was very much a trial run, which demonstrated to us that there was a huge demand for those sort of subsidised art classes. Parallel to that, we were trying to run the older after school art group at basically a market rate, where we were asking $18 per student per class, and we struggled to get enrollments. The feedback we got from a lot of our parents was, with all the other things that go on in the life of a child, school expenses, other extracurricular activities that they have to do, it's too expensive to spend that money on art, no matter how much the kids want to do it. So the purpose of this application is to continue expanding that offering to meet the demand that's there, to offer high quality after-school art classes 3 times a week, equating to 24 classes per term. To do that, we would be working with our existing tutors, and the funding from Creative Communities, if approved, would mean that we only have to charge each student $48 per term, which basically covers the art supplies and ensures that we're able to provide really high quality supplies, but the teaching is basically covered. We've got high quality supplies for the students. We're able to pay our tutors at a market rate, but deliver them a genuine arts development experience for very little money.
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, do we have any questions or comments from the floor? Yeah, Alison.
I certainly like the idea of reducing barriers due to cost. I just wondered with the subsidised classes that you have held, did you get quite a diverse range of participants?
Massively diverse. And what we're experiencing at the moment is the diversity of students that we attract is so broad that we've got kids coming out of the mainstream school system. We've got kids who are in mainstream schools but don't engage with art at mainstream school. And we've got homeschool kids. And they've got all sorts of levels of experience with the education system, with art, and all different motivations for being in that classroom. And we at the moment aren't able to cater to all of them, which is part of the rationale for having that third class. It enables us to keep the class numbers really small so that the teachers who are running those classes as well are able to cater to the needs of some of those students. In particular, we get a lot of kids who have learning difficulties as one thing that makes them sort of diverse. And to be able to keep those class numbers small and provide an experience that engages them and empowers them is really important.
Can I just add on it?
Yeah, go for it.
Just as an aside, I'm a board member of Youthline, and art therapy has become so popular with youth for helping them express their feelings and getting them through tough situations that we've actually had to take on a second art therapist in Palmerston North to cater to the needs. So I feel this is a good, stepping stone to getting your emotions on paper.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we're not offering art therapy, but Eris, for instance, one of the tutors, has done some professional development work in that area. She's a trained teacher and has explored some art therapy techniques. And so she's a huge asset to have, because for exactly that reason, even kids who maybe don't necessarily need the therapeutic experience, art class is a way for them to let out some of those emotions and explore their creativity, while also developing some techniques which will help them through the rest of their creative journey.
Ben? Oh, Kieran.
I have a grandson that has learning disabilities, just to put it mildly actually, but he's very good at art, very, very crafty. You find a lot of these people excel at art.
Yep. In our classes and separate to the classes, we also run a mentoring program for exactly that reason. The kids tend to find that when they're in art class or in an art learning environment, they've found their niche and they just run with it. And for instance, with these classes, there's no set curriculum or syllabus per se. Eris and Cheryl develop their plan for the term at the start. They present that to me and we go, okay, cool. That's roughly what we're going to work with. But 3 weeks into the term, they might go, oh, well, I've got a kid that likes this. I've got a kid that really enjoys working with this medium. I've got a kid that will only work with this medium. And they can be totally flexible around that. Like there was one boy who would only draw monster trucks. So that was fine. They would draw a still life, but he could adapt the subjects in the still life so that they could all be monster trucks. And that was his little alley that he would stay in. But that was what helped him engage.
Ben?
Kia ora, Karis. Love the idea of this project. And I know that this has been supported in the past and yeah, it's had a good trial run. A question I had is related to Te Kahui Aho or Kawakawa. So you're obviously helping to facilitate that as well. Is there much of a crossover between this application and that application?
No. So mentoring is something that we do as part of our overall organisational goals, and that's where we're working with Te Kawakawa Kahuiako. But this is very much working to a different demographic, I suppose. With Kawakawa Kahuiako, firstly, we're working with the schools.
Yep.
And the mentoring program is for those kids who possibly wouldn't even ever make it into an art class.
Okay.
Because they don't have, I mean, as much as we want, it's definitely an aim to reduce barriers through these classes. That's why they're priced the way that they are. But with the Kahuiako work, we're looking at targeting those kids whose parents maybe don't even have the capacity to fill out a form to sign them up for art classes. So
Okay.
Barriers.
Cool. No, thank you.
Yeah, cool. So would you say that the the funding will help like some young people do the art classes that wouldn't normally be able to afford to do it.
100%. I can think of at least a handful of examples of children who I've spoken to their parents and they've said, look, I'm a grandmother raising this child. There's simply no other option for her to pursue this other classes. We've got kids, particularly the homeschool ones, who say that the funding that we get from government isn't enough to provide meaningful art classes at home. We just can't meet that sort of learning need. There are specific names that come to mind where I know for a fact that that's something we're achieving.
Yeah, it's cool.
Through the chair, kia ora, my name's Kim. Love this idea. I just wondered, are the art that's created able to be displayed and exhibited and sold? Like, is there like a next step to some of their artwork?
We exhibit the artwork in the classroom space.
Oh.
So they've got sort of a gallery space that we've set up there where the kids can take ownership of that whole area. So at the end of the class, if they want to, they can exhibit it for everyone else to share, and they take turns doing that sort of informal exhibition. We do have scope to do a children's exhibition, and that's the one that we work with the Kahui Ako to deliver at the end of each year. And there is some crossover between the kids that come to the classes and take part in that exhibition.
Thank you.
That's great. Any other comments or questions? Great. Thank you, Karis.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your time.
Good luck with your decision making.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, team. So our next presentation is Manchester House Social Services. This is Maxine. Yeah. No? Do we have times? Sorry. We're just running fast. Time. So good. Oh, yeah, right. 12 10. We could jump here.
Do you want me to jump ahead?
Would you like to?
I can do.
All right, very good, very efficient. Thank you. So this is application six.
This is far away. That's all good. Hello.
All right, welcome, Ben. Thanks for coming to speak to your application. You had
No
to go a long distance to get here.
I know.
Go for it.
Cool. So my application is for running stand-up comedy tutorial / workshops for local youth, aiming for ages 13 to 24. Reason why for that bit of a split is that there's some young adults that I think would still benefit from being in that sort of environment with people that are a little bit younger than them. So a little bit about my background. So I've been doing stand-up comedy for 15 years as of this year. And I've been producing shows for 12 years. And I've run workshops sporadically over the past 7 or 8 years since I've been based in the Manawatu. This is kind of a little bit of a pilot program. So obviously we've seen that there's quite a lot of negative news at the moment with youth in the district. And a lot of people are saying that they need something for themselves to get into less trouble. And I see real benefits in people learning the techniques and the skills in stand-up comedy and then transferring that through to life. So one of the things that I think that is really good about comedy is that it teaches you that there's strength in vulnerability. that it's okay to be vulnerable and in front of an audience, with your sole purpose of making them laugh. You're telling people that you're the funniest person in the room. That's an incredibly vulnerable position to put yourself in, but it's also an incredibly strong position to put yourself in. There's also within these workshops collaborative approaches to working together. So there'll be times where in workshops I will come up with a line for somebody else that I have no intention of using myself. And it's about being selfless with those ideas and making sure that it's not just hanging on to them for yourself if you're not going to use it, to actually collaborate and share it with other people that can do. Just also the basics of public speaking, getting up in front of audiences, having the confidence to speak in front of people. And I think as well from a mental health aspect, a lot of what comes through in comedy nowadays is the fact that a lot of people are dealing with their own trauma, pressures, things that are going on in their life that aren't necessarily like positive. And where comedy is good is that comedy is the opposite of tragedy. So you can take some of those incidents or things that you've dealt with and actually find some light from it through comedic vessels. So basically the workshops are run for 8 weeks. I would facilitate the majority of them. However, if there's somebody that I think that is better suited for a particular lesson for that week, then I will look to and get them in and they will be compensated for that. So it's not just me that will be running it. And then at the end of that, there will be a performance that these students would put on. And we would use that money to sort of help facilitate the program. So I'm only asking for a little bit of money. It sounds like maybe not the right phrase to say it, but I believe that it's important for stuff like this to be self-funding. And hopefully I can get this off the ground and be successful with it so that in the future it is self-funding. And the idea is that to keep the income barrier low or the financial barrier low, so that hopefully we can encourage some people in and have a track record so that it sort of self-sustains in the future. Other than that, happy to answer any questions you may have. Well, I don't think I have any jokes I can share that would be appropriate for this setting, but yeah.
That's nice. So do you see that kind of model of the workshop stuff is funded and then the money, the income comes from the performance? So you just have more people coming to the performances at the end and that, like in the future, to make it self-supporting?
Yeah, so the idea is the funding is just to get this particular program off the ground and be successful in the first instance, so that then when I look to do it in the future, we get more interest from people. We can put on a bigger performance, so therefore either less funding is required or we can look at sponsorship as another avenue.
Yeah.
And I think that using something like Cactus as an example, with youth, is that there's a real strong community engagement regarding that, and lots of different people coming in and helping from that side of things, from that physical and mental well-being. I'm hoping that this will also appeal to them from that social mental well-being side of things as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, and also we will ask for people to contribute koha, which is basically what they can afford or what they feel it's worth to them. The reason being is I want them to see value in this, and even if that value is I can give you 50 cents, then that's fine. But it's what you put in is what you get back. And so it's important that they learn that as part of this as well.
Yeah, cool. Are there any questions or comments?
My name's Alicia.
Hello.
Hi. As far as like where you get the people that participate, do you advertise or is it through schools or?
Yep, so it'd be advertising through schools, advertising through social media. I've been working with Joe McKechnie, who's the Community Youth Development Officer here at Council, on some ideas about how to attract people in to do this. Because obviously I'm not necessarily of the age that would be able to connect with them, but he knows of people that are able to sort of encourage people in and target not necessarily we're not necessarily one of the target people that have like a performance background, if that makes sense. So like they would be the easiest people to get on in for this thing, but they're not necessarily the ones that are going to get most benefit from it. So we're actually trying to look for people that are outside of like a performance background. So, you know, that don't do acting or don't do poetry or don't do music. You know, they're more than welcome to come along if they want to, but we're trying to target people that haven't maybe considered this as an art form that they could do.
Great.
Sounds challenging.
I like a challenge.
Alison?
Thank you. Yes, it does sound challenging. Good luck. Venues?
Yeah, so Joey has spoken to me in the last week or so that the library would be interested in hosting a show and potentially would be available for workshops. So that's a possibility. I've also had tentative discussions with the Coach House Museum as a venue workshop, a workshop venue to use, because there will be stuff that is discussed in these workshops that maybe is not for public hearing, if that makes sense. And that's what we want to do, is try and create a safe environment where ideas are shared and, you know, we can bounce those ideas around without sort of public glare. So yeah, so those are two options that are on the table at the moment.
Great. That's awesome. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate your time. All right, I think we are having Maxine is from Manchester House Social Services. Thanks, Alison. Oh, not Maxine. Hello. Welcome. Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Hello. Good.
Oh, lots of places I know. Don't, I don't think. Yeah.
I haven't, by the way.
You haven't? Well, welcome this morning. You know me, obviously, I'm Joe, and I have actually declared a conflict of interest on this application, but I'm here for facilitating your,
Okay.
presentation. Would you like to introduce yourselves and tell us about your project?
Right. Okay, my name is Anne Williamson. I'm the Executive Manager of Manchester House Social Services. Beside me is Megan Gowan, who is the Centre Manager of the 96 Ferguson, which is our op shop. And we're here today to talk about the external wall of the op shop that runs down, for the want of a better word, an alleyway between the op shop and Delish, leading right through to the car park, the public car park at the back. So our application today to Creative Communities is for funding to actually put a lovely mural by Joe along that wall. However, that wall is extremely long. So the funding we're applying for is really for half the wall. So in the meantime, it's taken some time since we bought that, purchased the building, which was this time last year actually, and have renovated the shop, and as many of you know, is now open and doing really well under the manager of Megan. So the wall is quite integral because it's got to be creative and it's got to represent Feilding, but it's also got to represent what Manchester House in Feilding does as well. So, and it's just got to look lovely because it's such an ugly looking wall. So at the moment, where we're at in the preparation of the wall is, it has now been capped, which it's just got like a, I don't know, like a metal capping right along the top. Glenn Manley, I've signed a contract with him. He's a painter. He will be cleaning the wall. Then Gary Barnett will be what they call bagging it, which is basically just filling in the holes and the cracks. And then Glenn comes back and is putting on 2 coats of sealant, which will keep the moisture from going through the brick wall and some of those cracks as well. And that sealant is obviously provides that moisture barrier, but it also can be painted over and all those other things. And yeah, and I know it needs 2 coats and it costs an absolute fortune. So I think from a wall point of view and the shop point of view, yeah, I really hope that you will approve this application. Any questions?
Alison?
Thank you, Ian. I can picture where the wall is. So just getting more structural. So the building, you're preparing the wall. It's not an earthquake prone building, is it? So it's
Yes, it is.
It is.
It is an earthquake prone building.
Oh, okay. So
So it has been.
will that wall be affected in the future if it has to be mitigated, or?
I doubt it. I think it's like those internal structures that, from what I've talked to one of the engineers, don't ask me awkward questions, Alison. Knowing things, but I know that it is an earthquake prone building. The board are well and truly realise that, and they have talked to Arthur Morgenstern.
Yeah.
Does that ring a bell?
He's
Yeah.
the earthquake engineer.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess what I'm just trying to establish is the wall's not at risk of being pulled down in the next 10 years.
No.
No. And the other one is who actually owns the walkway?
The council. Now,
Oh,
the
they did,
reason why
yeah.
I know that is because Delish Cafe, Tracy, and can't remember his name, do talk to him regularly, Murray, I think, established that when he was having a discussion about the surface of the public car park in the back that had needed some renovation, and also the tidying up of the surface of the alleyway going through. He apparently put a submission into the council.
No, that's good. I was just trying to establish if it was privately owned, whether the owner of it had plans for that vacant lot.
No.
So if it is owned by the council.
I can only say that's hearsay. That is what he has said to
Because there
me.
was a building there. Was there a fire in a building there or something years ago? And there was-
I get a bit confused about
That's
what's
right.
been
So really
pulled
all I'm
down.
just trying to establish is the condition of the
Yeah.
building and the surety that will stay a walkway. So it sounds, I mean, in a life of a mural is what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think, I really just think the point is that really we want the Ferguson Street end of the wall to be with the mural, and that at some stage in the future, hopefully we can continue it on, but certainly in the interim, we need to tidy that wall up because it really is a bit of a mess. So, yeah.
Do you know what's actually going on there, or we just?
I've talked to Joe. Obviously, it will be something that is in keeping with Fielding and within the history of Fielding. But yeah, really, I mean, within the Manchester House logo is the TUI, of course. So, you know, really, Joe will no doubt will have a very long discussion about what we want and what he wants, which is probably more the point since he's going to do it.
Would be quite nice to talk to Manawhenua and see if there's anything that they'd like to see.
Well, exactly. So, yeah, we are open. We're certainly not closed to any ideas. It would just be really cool to have something that that is special. Yeah.
Cool. Ben?
Hello, how are you, Anne?
I'm good, thank you.
If it was sorry, this is really deep, isn't it? If it was a case that we weren't able to supply the full amount that you've requested, have you got any other avenues that you've looked at in terms of sourcing funding? Yep.
Yes, we have, and we certainly, I'll be looking at some of our budget around those. I think really mainly at the moment is we just need to get the wall with a moisture barrier on it. And it would be good to be able to continue on with the mural going on into summer, because we know that it's never easy over a Manawatu winter about getting anything on that wall. So yeah, I'll be looking at it. We're going through our budget now, actually.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Do you get any graffiti stuff put over the top of the mural?
Yes, that's included in the quote from Ben Manley.
Any questions from this side of the room? Sorry, you guys are correct. Anything?
Do you want
They
to
have.
say anything, Megan?
I think having the mural done will only add value to obviously that walkway. And I hope that we can sort of incorporate the TUI into it somehow, because that is part of our logo. Yeah, so I look forward to having a meeting with Joe and Anne and getting something done there. It'll be nice for people in the cafe too to look out onto that part of the wall. and see
Yeah.
that.
I definitely think that, one of the reasons for the signage outside 96 Ferguson, when we approved it with capture signs, was to create a shop that added value to the whole of that part of Ferguson Street. And I think we certainly managed to do that and make it welcome and all of those things. And I definitely think the mural will help as well.
Yeah, I think it's just another
Mm.
layer that we can add value to the shop. Yeah. And the building.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
Is there any community involvement, let's say, getting young people involved or?
Well, that's always a bit, there could be, but, that's, the application really is around providing something that is professional and looks like that we are a professional organisation. And yes, you could have young people in there, but it would have to be under the tutelage of Joe. That's not a problem. I don't have a problem with that at all, but it does have to look professional.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just thought it was another aspect that, getting
Yeah.
young people involved, getting them off the streets, that whole concept. People like that.
Another question, I'm still hogging in a bit, aren't I? Sorry about that. Did I understand you correctly, you are actually getting that building strengthened?
Yes, of course, we've got a date on it. I think it's 2032. As per MDC and government regulations. So, and there have been discussions, the board is in discussion. Once we got over the refurbishment of the building last year, we've taken a big deep breath and then can move forward.
That's great. Thanks, Anne and Megan. Appreciate you coming in, taking the time.
Not a problem.
Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, you too.
I hope the earthquake didn't worry
Did you feel the earthquake?
Yeah.
Oh, sure did. I didn't feel any of them because I was driving, I think. There's been a cluster.
Well, I blame my son because he's just come back for a few days before he goes to Canada, and he's been in both the Christchurch ones. He was in the Kaikoura one, and so where Richard is, the earthquakes arrived. So just yeah, we'll send him.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Right,
See
right.
you.
I was down in the workshop and I was standing next to a vehicle. I said, for my next one, is that vehicle moving?
Hello,
No, it must have been a good shape.
welcome.
Hello. I'm Sharon.
Sharon, hello. Welcome.
Hello.
Come on in.
Thank you.
Okay, so Celtic Spirit.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
excellent. We will jump straight in. Would you like to tell us about your application?
Thank you. We've done piping for prostate now twice.
Yep.
This is our third turn at it. It's gaining popularity in the community and outside the community also. You would have read that we've got Brendan Dugan and Dennis Marsh booked to come and highlight for us. They're very much looking forward to coming. Both of them are advocates for prostate cancer and getting checked. And that's the message that we've been getting across the last few years. So we want to continue that. The proceeds go to the Prostate Cancer Foundation support group in the Manawatu, and they're very appreciative of our help to do that. The other reason we want to get this up and running this year is because we're in the process of reviving the Fielding Pipe Band, which has been a bit down in numbers and not contributing in the community over the last several years. And I'd really like to bring them in under their own name to get functioning in the community again. And this would be a really good event for them to get into. Yeah,
Excellent.
so over the years, the quality is improved. So we want to keep that up. We're looking to fill the stadium this year, not just the concert chamber. So pretty big goal, but I think we can do it if we run all the ducks up.
Great. Do we have any questions or comments from the committee? Yes, Al.
Well done, Sharon. We know you can put on a pretty good show. And I know that you put hours and hours and hours into it. And I think a lot of events are starting to get back into the, we're back to normal again. And hopefully, I think you get a really good turnout this time because people have missed such events.
Yeah.
And I really do think we'd have a good for the stadium too.
Yeah, yeah. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Are you applying for funding from other avenues?
No.
No. Okay.
No. If we can keep it local, it'd be great.
Yeah.
But if we need to, I will. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Do we have any other questions? Ben.
Hi, Sharon. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
So you've got sponsorship on here based on previous sponsorship income. Is that existing sponsors that are carrying over to this event? And would you be looking at potentially getting some more sponsors involved?
Absolutely. This one is one that we know we're going to get, and we've just got to go out and look for it. We had endless trouble last year getting local sponsorship. I wrote to 60 businesses and not one replied. So I was a little bit disappointed. Even for $20 would have helped.
Yeah.
But I know it's hard, and that's okay. But we did it, and it worked. So it'll work. We'll just make it work.
Yeah.
If we have to. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just got a question. The project costs, I see that you have donation of door takings.
Yep.
Is that something that you make known up front, or is that dependent on how much you actually take at the door?
Both.
Okay.
People know that those proceeds are going to go to the Prostate Society.
Right.
What was the other question?
Well, I guess my question is, how can you put a figure on that?
Oh,
That's part of it.
based
yeah.
on what comes through the door.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's an estimate you have here as an
Yeah.
expense to your project of $3,000, 200 times 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess that's kind of like a variable figure, isn't it? It depends on what you take at the door.
Yeah.
How many people come to
Yeah.
the event.
Yeah. Well, you're never going to know, eh?
No, okay.
Yeah.
But you count that as an expense rather than just something that you would give as a,
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting question. Yeah. I don't know however you want to rationalize it. I don't know, but it's coming in, it's going out again.
yeah,
But it's an income from the door
right,
and going out as a donation.
sure,
Yeah.
okay.
Sorry, just to follow up to that. So based on last year's event, it was last year, right? What was the donation that was made to Prostate Cancer New Zealand? Did you have that figure?
Yep. It was about 1,500.
Okay, and so basically you're looking to double that this year?
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
Yes.
cool. Thank you.
No worries.
All right, that's great. Any other comments or questions? Okay. Sharon, thank you for taking the time to come in and speak to your application.
No worries. Thank you for having
We
me.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
George. Yep. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Georgia Larkin. So Georgia's next. Yeah. Right. Georgia, hello. Welcome. Yeah.
I'm Corinne, by the way.
We're just
No, we've
talking
missed
about.
one here. Oh, sorry. Just, oh, here we go. Yeah. Thank you. Hello. Welcome. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us about your application?
Yes, my name's Georgia.
Yep.
This is Corinne. We are sisters. We both weave and are really, really passionate about reconnection back to culture using toy or art as that forum to make that connection. With what we're doing, we are looking for 12 Māori wahine that are looking to reconnect back to culture. And again, we're wanting to use art, specifically rāranga or weaving, as that component to make that connection. Corinne and I were both really disconnected from culture until we found rāranga. And that gave us the entry to feel that belonging, to be able to reconnect, to give us that awhi, to give us that mana to be able to go, hey, we're actually Māori. This is what it looks like in the belonging sense. And it gave us that confidence to be able to sit here in front of you today saying, we know that this works. And so why wahine? Because statistically speaking, Māori wahine are most at risk for lots of not great things. And also if we focus in on wahine, they are the ones that generally uphold their whare or their home and direct their whānau. And so by drawing them in, we don't only just affect that one person, but we can help to create change within a whole whānau, and then that can extend out into community. Did I leave anything out?
I don't think so. It's pretty much the crux of what we're hoping to create for the community. For me, it's really, like Georgia said, it's a really personal journey, and one that we've sat down together and thought, how can we give back, from what we've learned, how can we give back and give people that same sense of belonging, and same sense of having something to offer back to their community as well. So I think this is a really beautiful, gentle way for people to learn and be immersed in culture without it being too intense to start off with. It's a really beautiful, gentle way to do it. Yeah.
And we are looking at running 3 noho. So noho is where you come and you stay. So that would be start on a Friday and they would stay for the entire weekend through to the Sunday. And then we will have Monday classes after that. And so the Monday classes are about troubleshooting. They're about keeping everybody engaged and giving them the opportunity to support each other as well on those Monday nights. And of course, during the noho as well. But yeah, the Monday, really important with engagement, encouragement.
And accountability.
And accountability. Yeah.
So those Monday classes go for 12 weeks, is that correct?
So we're not doing every single Monday. So following the noho, there will be a missed Monday and then every Monday.
I see.
So 3 Mondays per month. Yeah.
Mine's Kerry. Is that bag, yes, something?
Yes, it is. Yeah, this is a kitty that I wove. Yeah. It's always nice to have something on you. If you say you're a weaver, you've got to have something. Like, are you really a weaver? Yes, I am.
We're creating maro. I'm not sure if everyone knows what that is, but if you've watched Matatini, you'll see the tani and the men, they wear the maro, and that's what we're creating. Because you've got a mixture of both using the fibre that's inside the flax and also the opportunity to use raw flax as well. And because we're dealing with wahine, we're all about needing to balance that. And so we're balancing it with a maro, which is predominantly for a tani. So that's the reasoning behind that. And all of the techniques that they will learn is all mataranga Māori, which is all traditional knowledge. So they won't be using cottons or wool or anything like that. It'll be all harakiki. Yeah. So really tapping into that, and that's where that, increase of mana comes in, and starting to have a look at, how we did things and why we did it like that, and how we got to that point is really, really uplifting for people.
Yeah, this is such a cool project that you're doing. We don't have a huge pot of money that we're giving out for funding. Do you have other avenues for funding?
We have applied through the Palmerston North City Council for half of what we're, for the other half of what we've asked.
Have you heard from them?
Yeah, we have been successful in that.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Yeah. And do you have any other funding sources, or is it just doing half and half?
Not at this stage, we don't. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Good question.
Alicia.
What is your process for reaching out to participants? How do you find your wahine that would like to do this?
Well, our first port of call is, word of mouth already, just, through Georgia and I talking to friends and whānau, and them talking to their friends and whānau. We've already found, that there's a handful of people that have already reached out to us and have taken interest in wanting to jump on with us. So that's really great, but we want to really make sure that we're giving as many people in the community the opportunity to jump on with us as well. So the process will be going and talking through local agencies. Our first start will be the Community Services Council newsletter, the Puharakiki newsletter. So we'll be putting it out to them, which will go out to all of the local agencies who are on their database. And we'll also go and work with them as well, introduce ourselves, let them know what we're planning to do. And if they have any whānau that would like to jump on, we want expressions of interest to start with, so that we can go through a process of finding the right people, because we really want to make sure that we get the most out of it as we can.
We've actually had a lot of our own whānau say, we really want to do this, and we've had to say no. Because, we're really wanting to, this is a pilot, and we're really wanting to reach right out into the community, to people that we don't know that would, really benefit from what it is that we are offering.
So is that community within the fielding community, or is this reach beyond into
So
other districts,
we're
or-
hoping to not kind of box ourselves into just one area. We're hoping to operate to the Manawatu. We're guessing a lot of the applicants will probably be coming from Palmerston North, but we're not ruling out Fielding or Ashurst or, and we are holding it in Rangiotu as well, at Rangiotu School. So, yeah.
Yeah, so that's within the district, isn't it?
Yeah, it won't be like Wellington and.
No.
No.
Yeah. But as far reaching as the Manawatu district, and that would be it.
Yeah.
I'll
Other
make a comment.
questions? Yes, Kim.
Tēnā korua.
Kia
Tēnā
ora.
koutou te whānau. I just I just have to say that this application's amazing, and I totally understand where you're coming from. And working in health, not, well, does interact with art, but there's a lot of our whānau out there would just really appreciate what you're doing. Just the process of, you know, from our harakeke through to the product itself is huge and a valued asset for our people, a taonga for our people. So I love it, absolutely love it, and there's not enough of it.
Yeah.
So us, Mum knows where I am. So I just want to talk to you after, you know, yeah, about.
Kia ora, ngā mihi.
Ben,
So I don't really have a question. I just want to say that I was really impressed with the application, and I'm really, really supportive of this idea. I think that it's something unique that's come through, and yeah, I wish you all the best for it.
Kia ora, ngā mihi. Thank you so much for your, that's really awesome to hear. Thank you for that feedback, both of you.
Got one other comment.
oh, yes, okay,
Yours is great. Good luck.
Thank you, ngā mihi.
thanks.
Just got one other comment. Fantastic project. I was wondering at the end of the process, if you would open that up and share the works that are made with the water community so other people can appreciate what's happened.
Yeah, so at the end, what we've kind of discussed, and also once we have the participants and we're going, it'll be a kind of a conversation that we do have with them as well. But at this stage, what we're looking at is having all of their whānau come in and celebrate that with them. But I mean, would we open it up to the community? We probably would, yeah. But that would be a conversation that we would have with the people who are
Or maybe you
participating.
could display it at the Fielding
Yeah.
District Arts.
Yeah,
So if
Council.
they want to do an exhibition or
Yes,
something like
exactly,
that.
yeah.
exactly. So other people can come in. and-
Yeah, because we did actually think about that, and we were thinking, you know, that an exhibition at the end would just be so amazing, and but we had to kind of rein it in too with the financial side of things and how that might look. But I think one of the big takeaways from today will be that question that you've just asked, and actually start looking at doing an exhibition at the end of them. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I know a lot of people that aren't Maori, but they would be very interested in seeing and actually learning
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah.
You know, some of the traditional weaving.
yeah, yeah,
practices
absolutely.
and Just learning about the culture.
Yeah, and we're
Which
not
is good
closed
for
off to that
Right.
at all. We're not closed off to that.
Yeah.
That's certainly something that we will look at in the future.
Sure.
But as a starting point, we need to start where we're starting right now.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure, understand.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, good, thank you.
Yeah, Mihi, thank you.
Lynn, did you have a comment?
Morena,
Morena.
I noticed that one of you have been involved with Think Aurora before, so my comment, it's not a question, is that we have less money than Palmy Council have to distribute. If you weren't successful in getting all the money you've requested, it would fit pretty nicely with a lot of the mahi that Think Aurora does, and they have funding available, particularly for wahine. And so you could have a chat to those guys about that. You might actually, through Think Aurora, get ongoing funding
Yeah.
post the pilot for mahi like this, or through Titahi.
Yeah, that's definitely something to, think about. We'll definitely put that in our kitty and for later.
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks for that.
thank you, Ngā mihi.
Oh, sorry, just following on from Alicia's idea about an exhibition. So like, pardon my ignorance, but these pieces would be worn as part of performances potentially?
Well, it's up to the person who's creating it, how that might look, because
Yep.
at the end, so for when you weave, your first woven piece is given away.
Okay,
And so that's also, it's not just about giving it away either. It's the process behind, we're now gifting that knowledge on. So the knowledge just doesn't stop here. We're gifting that knowledge on as well. And
Right.
so they are, each piece that is created will be gifted to a person of their choosing at the end. Yeah, but yes, they are worn. How someone might wear it might differ. And so if we're thinking exhibition, it would be putting them on mannequins. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, I just had in my head whether or not it would work, they could potentially be used as part of a performance to exhibit it rather than a stationary thing.
Yeah.
It was just an idea that came to my head.
That's
cool.
yeah. We might have to come back for a different.
I'm not volunteering to be the guy.
We might have to come back for a different session at some stage.
Yeah.
That's such a cool idea.
Yeah, very cool.
Excellent. Thank you so much for coming in, and we appreciate your time to talk about your application.
Yeah, we appreciate your time too, and the questions that you've asked. Yeah, it's been really awesome, and yeah, mihi to all of you. Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll hear from you soon.
Cool. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Zaya?
Kia ora koutou.
Okay.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
No, we're in the afternoon now. Good afternoon.
You'll forgive my nerves. I haven't presented at a panel this large in quite some time, and it's my first time presenting in such a manner. So thank you so much for having me. Tēnā koutou katoa, ko kasha toku ingoa, no Poland and Canada toku tupuna, ko Białystok toku awa, ko Wisła toku monga, ke te noho a ki kawakawa, tēnā koutou katoa. So my name is Kasia Jarek. I am representing our field in Kahuyako, which is made up of 14 local schools. We've been in operation for the last couple of years. Our focus is really on well-being and development of all our tamariki across our community. So we're trying to do that in a variety of different ways. This is a passion project that started for myself and two other lovely women last year, Karis, who is the Fielding District and Art Society manager, and Linda, who was one of the past principals. So last year we applied to you and we were extremely lucky to get a grant. And we used that for a kind of a two-project approach. One of them was across all of our schools. We provided resources for kids to take part in a real art exhibit. That didn't happen in their classroom hall. It didn't happen at their school, but it happened in town, in the community, and they got to go through the process like a regular artist would. From ordering resources, which some of our funding was used for that you have given us last year. And together they brought in, by the end of the year, this amazing exhibit featuring 15 kids from each school across our region. It was phenomenal. Like, I still get goosebumps about it. It was just absolutely fantastic. The other approach that we took was looking at underprivileged kids in our community. So specifically social economical background, which a lot of us have in our classrooms, whether or not it's a learning disability or other things, but kids that are passionate about art. And we yet again gave an opportunity to every school in our Kahuyako. And a number of the tamariki across the schools were paired up with a local artist. And they got to go on this phenomenal journey of discovering their own passions for art, but working with someone that's actually already an established artist who makes a profit, who
who can show them from the very beginning that this is actually something you can do for the rest of your life if you have a passion for it and if you love it. So the proposal is to do it again this year, bigger and better. That's basically what we are hoping to achieve. Our deadline for the project and the exhibit will be November 3rd. So yet again, we're hoping to have all of our schools involved. Last year, the focus of the project was Toyota and well-being, which is one of the aspects of the Kahuiako that's very important for Tamariki. This year, our theme is all about tikanga, about the culture of our Tamariki. I'm not sure if you're aware, but there's a very big change in education, and we're really trying to be at the forefront in making sure that we have culturally best practices. We acknowledge the history, we acknowledge local culture. So we have a lovely partnership through our Kahuiako with Ngāti Kōwhata. They were at our original opening night. They did the blessing. We had representatives from the council, and it was a phenomenal event. So I'm here today to hope that we can have your support in doing it again this year. So if you flip through it, there's some info on the back of the first page. These are some of the resources that schools don't have money for. And just look at them, aren't they glorious? And being in education for close to 20 years, I can tell you, we don't have a budget for that. And I'm sure knowing you've been in education, this isn't resources that are usually available to schools. If you're a classroom teacher, you're lucky to get $100 for the whole year, and you might have 20 to 30 kids in your classroom. The grant was used to provide all the art resources. So the sky was the limit. So they did some amazing things with it. We still have a little bit of a stockpile to support. And if you flick through, you get to the actual art. This is what our local Tamariki created in our community. This was showcased to all of our community members. We had community members that have never stepped foot into that art gallery walk in. The kids had the choice to sell their artwork. They had the choice to donate funds to the school's art projects. A lot of them really stepped out of their comfort zone and created something that within a regular classroom environment and without these resources, it just wouldn't be possible. So I really want to acknowledge and show you that what you have done for us last year has really, really made a difference. And it made a difference in the lives of a lot of Tamariki. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. Whew. I can almost smell those fresh art supplies.
All right.
You know, that new
I was
stationery
like
feel.
a kid in a candy store. I loved it.
Yeah, that's cool. Do we have any comments, Alicia?
No, I think it's a great project. What about other funding? Are you?
So Karis was responsible for getting some funding for the mentors, because as you can imagine, trying to source local artists that have the time to take this project on, we want to make sure that we give them a koha that, you know, is respectful. So we did have a couple of grant last year, and I believe she's applied to one other source, and I believe it's the same source as last year to support that.
Is it Eastern Central?
I believe, yeah, it could be.
Eastern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were very favorable. Haven't heard back? from
No,
them?
we have not.
When, do you know when you made?
Not yet, no. I was hoping Karis would be here. She knows all the,
Funding part of
Yeah.
it, the application.
Yeah. Okay.
They're pretty favorable about those type of.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Yeah. Do we have any other comments or questions?
Ben, hello. Hey, how are you doing?
Nervous now that I've put my spiel.
I just having a look at the photos. It's really inspiring, and seeing what the kids generated is awesome. Obviously, as Alicia just sort of maybe alluded to there, like funding is quite tight. You mentioned before that some of the students may decide to sell the pieces that are created. So if they were to sell them, like where does that money go? Does that go directly to them or does
So
it go back
there's
into the program?
there's a percentage breakdown. I believe the art gallery gets a small percentage because they're the ones showcasing the piece. And the other two groups were obviously the student, and I think they got to like donate a small percentage for the next year students to be able to do what they've done. Yeah.
That's really cool. Awesome. Thank you.
It was really cute, like them trying to figure out how much their artwork is worth. I spoke to some kids, they were like $5,000. I'm like, that's a good start.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's maybe just dial it back a little bit.
But they loved it. And you know what? It was such a wide range and a wide, diverse range of students. We have autistic nonverbal kids that put in an amazing piece. We had the special needs unit at the high school put in some amazing mahi. So it's really, really well worth it throughout.
I can attest to that because my son's in the supported learning unit at the high school. I'm not sure if he was involved in this, but just even just being involved in that, he's benefited greatly from it. So yeah.
Yeah, he got those resources directly.
Yeah.
Excellent. Any other comments, questions? Elsa?
Just resources makes all the difference. And looking at the first page there.
Yeah.
Years ago, I was involved in early childhood, just on the committee, and I used to be the person that received the mail and the MTA catalogue.
Yeah. Oh,
I just drew.
it really, yeah, that's how we feel as educators, especially if you're really passionate about art. Like they come in with these amazing resources, but you just look at the price tag and like, I'll just put it away.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've done exhibitions with kids before, and it's really exciting, you know, for them to put something on the wall and say, oh, it's worth $10. And, you know, even if it doesn't sell, it's that kind of step up into like, oh, this is a possibility, you know, I can make something more than just coloring in or whatever.
It's very empowering.
Yeah, it's very empowering. And it could be sparking, you know, the next generation of artists.
Oh,
in
completely.
the Mano too. So
sorry,
I can assure you that's happening.
Just on that, I think it's important that they learn that at that age, like that there is a commodity to the work that they do. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's awesome. Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate your time.
I can breathe now. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
All right. See you later.
Oh.
Yeah, you did well. Bye. Excellent.
You'll be pleased
Sorry?
to know, Lynn, when we get the dispersal of all the things from the library.
Steering Centre apologies. Yep. And
Stuff that
Slow
they wouldn't
Woven,
been able
they
to
weren't
do,
coming.
you know, like
They're not coming. So we don't have any
Yes,
more
all that kind of
presentations.
stuff. Yeah.
Great.
She was, and then more excited than that.
Sorry? Ben already did his, so
It's a
yeah.
school cluster of existing schools.
Yeah, should we do that?
Julia is the lead, and she's a teacher at North Street School.
Yeah, excellent. All right. Thank you, committee.
High school.
That's all the presentations. So we're just going to break for lunch now and then do our deliberations after that. Great. declare the meeting open. And so we're now going to discuss each of the applications. And just a reminder that we've all done our marking, and so we have a rank order of all the applications, and we're going to go through each application in the rank, in the order, and then we assess it and we decide on how much funding we would like to apply to each application as we go. Very good. So let's start, and we're going to have to ask Mr. Ben Corbell to leave the room.
Happy to leave.
What's the matter? Are we just, you're starting the Zoom recording?
Megan, have you still got it open? I'll have to open it as read only, so if you make any changes, it won't be.
I'll do
Is it okay?
It's okay.
Should we carry on or should we wait? We can carry on. Okay. Thank you, everyone. So let's discuss this application, DIY Comedy. Who would like to start?
Well, I feel this is a very small investment for good value for these kids. don't
Great
you?
bang for buck.
Yeah.
Yep.
How many people?
I think it was 10.
10.
I think so.
So there were 8 workshops.
Yeah, 8 weeks of workshops.
So it's the 10 participants in each of the workshops.
And the only reason I didn't give them the full amount was I was trying to stretch it across everybody and I didn't give anyone the full amount.
Yeah, it seems like a great start and a great way to, also great thinking about, making it sustainable in the future and not just relying on the funding all the time. Excellent. Any comments against this application? No? Excellent. All right. Well, I will move that we fund the full amount, $810 for DIY Comedy. Is there a seconder?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Sue. So that's sorry. And all those in favour?
Aye.
And against? Carried. Great. Oh, yes, if you can grab Ben, thank you. Nice, easy one to start.
From this perspective, there's 16K to spend this time. And given that there's one of them that we're going to relook at, should we approve how much we're going to give each of them at the end? Because we might go back and have to readjust it on that we might not have enough.
Yeah.
Or do we have enough money?
That's a procedural question, isn't it, really?
I guess the whole idea of doing the scoring is to put your order of priority. So generally, the ones that your top priority would be the ones that you would look to fully fund or give as much as
Yeah.
you've got, and the less amount, because by giving everyone a little bit of a chunk of cherry, you might be setting some of them up to fail because they need that amount for it to be successful.
So has anybody changed their scores based on what they heard today with the question? Because you might change your score.
Well, I know my scores didn't even out to 16,000 right off the bat, so.
Not the fun, not the money. You were talking about the ranking.
Oh.
Yes, so
Okay.
the ranking.
Yeah. That's
okay.
that's kind of complicated. I mean, I guess the ranking gives us the initial order and then we discuss, and we can change our opinions as we discuss it. But I don't think we have like a live ranking that can change as we go.
I'm just mindful of the one that we were going to talk about with Kerry hasn't put at school.
Oh, we're about to do that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's right. So the second application that we're going to consider is actually the ninth in our list order, original order. But because of this zero score from Kerry, we have averaged that out. So now it's in second position. Perfect, great. So let's, so that's Georgia. Let's discuss that application. Just bring it up on here.
This is the weaving, right?
Yes, yeah, sorry, just trying to find the,
Can I just wanted to check that everyone knew the location that they were talking about, so.
No, I didn't know where that is.
So the Rangiota School was not actually an operating school. It's an empty building that's used by the community like a community centre, and it's next to Te Reo Mario Marae down at Rangiota, which is in our district.
It is.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
But many of the, people from Te Reo Mario live in the wider district, including Palmerston North.
Sure, okay.
yeah. So it's kind of a bit of a strange one because it's across two districts, but it's being held in Manawatu district. But Palmerston North have funded half. And I mean, I guess in terms of the pool of money, it probably would have been smarter for them to go for a smaller percentage from Manawatu and a larger percentage from Palmerston North.
That's true.
But they have just gone half
See,
and
if
half.
they hadn't have done Manawatu as well, they might have got turned down at Palmerston North for not being a venue within their city boundary. So they've done the right thing by going to both.
Yeah.
I think as well, like maybe Kim has a bit more authority to speak about this, but like local government boundaries probably aren't as applicable to this application. I mean, like if you whakapapa back to Rangitane or like Kiowa and it happens to split between two districts, I think that's probably more in line with their thinking. I know that that's a consideration for us with our funding, but I think that should be balanced out by what is in Tikanga Māori.
Yeah. Exactly right then. What Lynn had mentioned when the girls were in the room.
Sorry, can I get you to put your mic on, please, Kim? Thanks.
Sorry.
That's right.
Kim speaking. What Lynn had mentioned while the girls were in the room and why I gave my card is there might be another avenue for them as well.
Sure.
You mean in terms of funding?
For funding.
For funding, okay.
Yeah.
Because it would be, I mean, they did talk about it being a pilot.
Yeah, it's the
And if it's
first start.
successful, they would like to run more.
Yeah.
So if we look at this one as being a pilot, not just a one-off, then
Okay.
hopefully there'll be other sources of funding so they can continue to offer this course.
Yeah.
I would think, sorry, I would think that if they did get some funding from the sources that we were talking about now for the pilot, they're more likely to secure funding for that going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be, I mean, it's your decision to make, but I would just put that out there because that's how it works.
Although also if they got funding from us in Palmerston North, they can demonstrate they've had a pilot.
Yeah.
And that's right.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all agree that it sounds like an amazing project and really we do want to support it, but it probably not to the full amount, the full budget they're asking, because that would take 2/3 of our whole budget. And so I guess unless someone would like to speak against it or has some concerns about the application, then it's just really a matter of us deciding how much we can afford to put towards it. Yeah, those other funding sources, are they likely to get funding through them? We don't know
I
really.
can't say now, but
Yeah,
I don't know what their budgets are like, but when I used to work there, yes.
yeah. Oh, I used to work there. Okay, great. Yeah. Yeah.
So are they getting 4,000 from Palmerston North City?
No, they're
Getting
getting 8,000.
8,156.
And then asking for another 8,000 from us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah,
So they halved it. Yeah.
okay.
Other fundings from now
Hmm.
or any income from this project.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so two of us have said $4,000, two have said 6,000, and there's a 2 and a 1, 3. So I mean, we could say half. We could give them sort of half of what they're asking for, or $4,000 approximately. But I'm happy to take suggestions. What do you think we should do?
I'm supportive of at least 4,000. I could be persuaded to go upwards of that.
Okay.
Closer to that 6,000 mark.
Okay.
But I'd probably say I'd be more comfortable in and around 4,000 and 5,000 as an agreed amount.
We have total applications 40,000, and we've got 16,000 to distribute. So that will mean we're saying no to quite a few projects or a small amount. That's the reality of what we have. Yeah. So Ben's voting for sort of 4 or more, 4 or 5. Any other
I
ideas?
don't think our giving less will negate the project, because they could maybe, instead of doing it over, how many weekends they were talking about? Was it 4?
3 north.
3 weekends. 3
Yeah.
weekends.
Yeah.
Well, you really do need 3
12
weekends.
classes
And 12
12
classes.
weeks.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if they could
Yeah.
kind of shrink that down a little bit to, I don't know, I'm just thinking, if they didn't get enough money, hopefully it doesn't negate their project, because I wouldn't want that to happen.
Yeah, I mean, they would have to balance it, I guess.
Yeah, they'd have to balance it in terms of making it shorter or.
Yeah. Okay. Any other suggestions?
4 at least.
Or less? Yes. Okay, Alison, any ideas?
Oh, it's just there's not enough funding, is there?
Not enough funding.
I probably put the least amount there.
Yep.
Bearing in mind that there's possibly somewhere else that they could go, but
Okay.
that was just why I did that.
Yeah.
Because all my totals come to just under 16,000.
Oh, you've
For the
just
whole-
used the
I
money
just
that,
kind of-
yeah.
I
see what you
did
meant.
the same for my totals as well, but yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's nowhere near the 4 or the 6.
Okay, well, if I said 4,000, would people be kind of in agreement of that? Yeah, any great negotiating or, happy to be convinced otherwise? Good, okay, right, so I'll move that we support this project for the amount of $4,000. Can we have a seconder? Ben, thank you. Oh, no, that's not that one, sorry. And all those in favour? And against? That's carried. Yes.
To clarify, I will touch base with Janine afterwards to find out what inclusive and exclusive GST for the final minutes.
Okay. In terms of the amount, yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Sorry, through you, Chair, is the 16,000 exclusive or inclusive of GST? Inclusive, eh?
That's the they registered of GST, so if you look at their application, they will.
Are they GST
They're inclusive,
registered?
aren't
Oh,
If
they're not GST
they're
registered.
not GST registered, then it will be inclusive.
Yeah.
Because the figures that they've got on their project form are inclusive of GST figures.
Yeah.
But the total amount that we can give, is that inclusive or exclusive?
That'll be inclusive.
Okay.
Where it matches their application. Yes, okay.
So which one is exclusive? That will be
Oh, right,
inclusive.
okay, thank you.
So application number 18, the second one there.
Not, yep, okay, great. All right, thank you, everyone. Okay, let's move on to our third priority, which says second on the page, and this is slow woven. And we did, Natasha didn't speak to us today, so let's just kind of find that one and just get a bit familiar with it. Here we go. Okay, so solo exhibition for Natasha Christensen. An exhibition of textile artworks. Yeah. So do you know Natasha? Oh, no, okay, just wanted to since you're in textile.
She's Graham's daughter. Graham Christensen.
Ah.
From Ashes too. Quite a regular exhibitor at FedEx.
Yeah. The exhibition is intended to highlight the valuable contribution of people with disabilities within the arts and how high quality work can be produced. And she is asking for 4,327. Would anyone like to speak about this application?
Can I be excused for a minute?
Yeah, sure.
Thing, how many people would this bring together? I mean, is it for just her for her? Is it for other disabled people? Or I wasn't quite sure. Trying to find it in this book here.
Oh, so we're on page 175 of the big book.
175. Oh, thank you.
Yep, that's all right.
Okay.
So one active participant and I'm guessing an estimated number of viewers of 800 plus.
To come see the exhibit.
Yeah.
You're saying. Yeah, it says here, this is a solo exhibition. Okay, produced by me.
That does sound, 800 sounds quite generous for people coming to see it.
Infielding.
Sorry?
Infielding.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
does. Unless it was the, if FedEx is still going to be doing their annual show over at the convention centre would be, I'd say 800 people, but.
Oh, yes, the art show.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah.
One or two art show.
I think should be hopeful for 800 going through.
Yeah. I guess it does bring up an interesting thing, doesn't it? It's so there's a lot of cost for materials to produce the work, advertising, gallery hire, those sort of things, and then she will be selling the work in the exhibition. So it's kind of, yeah, is it benefiting one artist rather than a large group of people? What do you think?
Yeah, screen print screens, 2,800.
I mean, the screen print screens can obviously be reused, so it's like an ongoing resource that will be helpful for them.
Yeah.
But
I mean, she is putting a bit of money, her own funds into it as well. Oh, well, that's one of the incomes, own funds.
yeah,
The sales amount that she's suggested seem quite low to me. I'm not an expert, so I'm happy to be corrected, but
sales minus commission, $350.
yeah, as in, well, so
that's income.
That's income from sales, which again, like to me, that seems like it's underselling the work. I suppose what it is like, I know that it's a difficult one, but if you are being provided with funding to do work, and then you sell that work on, I feel slightly uncomfortable with that, in the sense that, like, essentially you're there being paid twice, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Paying for materials.
Although she's not being paid initially.
No, she's not been paid initially, but there is the potential.
It's not like she has
there.
an artist fee or something.
No,
and then
no.
She's selling it.
But there is that potential that, that work that she produces could go on to make hundreds, if not thousands of
Yeah,
dollars.
rather than be a
Yeah.
promotion of the arts.
Yeah.
It's about her as an artist. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't have a problem with that. Like in terms of, us providing funding for materials and a little bit of labor, but if there is profit that goes on top of that from potential sales, that's where it sits a little bit uncomfortable
Okay.
for me. But yeah, I understand that it's a difficult place to be in the arts, so you got to try and get as much money as you can.
Sure. Alison?
Mine's more of a technical question, and perhaps Janine might be the best one to answer. The screen printer is a capital item. Is that an issue with the rules at the moment? I can't remember. At one point weren't allowed to buy fund capital items.
Certainly if but it looks like she's having the printing rather than buying the printer.
Oh,
Where does it say screen printer?
It's a screen printing emulsion and emulsion.
oh, screen printing screens. Does it?
Yeah, the screens are like a physical thing.
I don't know much about that.
Yeah.
But you're correct. Creative does not fund capital items.
Yeah.
Oh, would that be counted as a capital item or an art supply?
No, but if it was
A printer, yeah. Okay, sure. Interesting. Alicia, you've got it down as a 20, so you've given it really high marks. Can you speak to that?
Sure. I think it's really great to support, people that have disabilities and to get them out in the community and sharing their work and getting them engaged and giving them opportunity. Perhaps, I don't know about that full amount though. I think I did put down the full amount, but I could definitely bring that back because of the amount of funding we have available. But yeah, no, I would like to support it in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also supportive of the project and agreeing with Alicia. I think it is important that people with disabilities have the ability to receive funding and also produce work.
Yeah.
I haven't given it the full amount. I've suggested $2,000. I could be tempted or persuaded to go up of that, but not by much. I'd say probably no more than 2,500. But yeah, that's sort of where I'm sitting.
Okay.
I'd be comfortable with $2,000 too.
Yeah. Okay.
I would too.
Yeah, sure. Okay, no, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it is good to
She's not GST registered.
not GST registered. Okay,
Including everything.
sure. Yeah, I mean, I marked it lower, just for the kind of lack of community participation, the more of a single artist. But then it is also supporting FEDAS and getting more people into exhibitions. And so, I think all of that stuff is supporting the arts, isn't it, in the Manawatu. So,
And she'll probably have friends perhaps
Yeah.
that are in that community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Give them ideas to.
Okay, well, Ben, can you move then that
Yep.
is we support for $2,000?
Yep, cool. So this is item, sorry.
Now it's to.
Yeah, application. So I'd like to move that the project is funded $2,000 from the Creative Community Scheme for application 17.
Correct. And so, Alison, seconded.
I had $2,000 down, so I'm happy to second.
Thank you, Alison. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? So that's carried. Thanks, guys. Okay, right, so moving on. to the Fielding and District Art Society Affordable After-School Art Classes. Application number 11. Yes, 11. Let me just. All right, who would like to get the ball rolling on this application? So we have kids who the financial the cost of art classes is a barrier to them doing it, and so through this they'll be able to access art classes and art supplies that they might not have been able to, which is a positive thing.
I scored this quite highly. I mean, there's high participation.
Yeah. You've put down you'd like to discuss venue hire.
Yeah, but then it helps when you read the application properly, doesn't it?
Can I just make one comment, Jane?
Yes.
If you were to compare this one with the Tika, the
Kawakawa.
Tika Hui Aho group, I would guess that participants would be more fielding based for this one, whereas with the other one, when you looked at the list of schools, it was very rural as well.
Yes.
So
Are you saying that's a negative or?
I'm just feeling that the one based at the art centre might be more likely to attract urban kids.
Yep.
And that country kids would miss out. And if we rank this one really high and the other one misses out, I'm just trying to be inclusive across the district.
Yeah.
And this is proven to track record waiting list as well, isn't it?
I mean, I must say, when Kezia came to talk to us, your application went up for me compared to what it said on paper, and seeing the photos from what they did last year and the standard really made me think, oh, I didn't rank that one high enough.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, that's true. I wondered about this one just being, it's the second time they've applied for funding for the same thing. And it was obviously successful the first time, and they got, they had lots of people wanting to do it, and so they've expanded their offering. Is this what they were kind of expecting to do from now on? Are they going to, offer funded art classes?
This was an additional one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Put in more classes.
Additional because of the interest.
But she also talked about, so they had one age group that was subsidised and one that wasn't, and the difference it made.
Yep.
They only had 4 participants in the pay your own way senior class.
Yep.
Which would have been good for those 4 kids, but it's not very inclusive.
Not very
Whereas
sustainable.
by reducing financial barriers and making it available to a few more. Yeah, it's a hard one. I mean, I'd like to support it. It's just the amount, isn't it?
I'm in a similar position. I would love to be able to give this the whole amount, but we're limited by the funds. And from what we've seen today and what we've seen through the other applications, it's very difficult balancing that budget. I've given it high marks, it's 17 out of 20. I did wonder about potential crossover between Te Kahui Aho. But it does seem like they are 2 separate projects, or like there isn't much crossover there. So yeah, happy to hear other people's thoughts, but
Oh, my microphone's on.
Good.
There's like 1 point difference between these ones, like the total score. Would we, because we've granted 2,000 for the previous one,
Yeah.
and this one's just a slightly less scoring, would we
Do a similar amount of
would we
money.
do similar amount or slightly lesser, given the
Yeah.
rating
I'd be,
as a starting point.
I'd be comfortable. with
Okay.
that.
So we do like the idea of supporting this project. We just don't have all of the funding available. We're currently at $6,810 that we have. Is that correct?
So we will have 16, 15.
No, 10, approximately 10,000 left. 9190 left. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We have still kind of rated this one reasonably high. I think we like the idea of it. So, okay. So, should we go with $2,000? Three people have put $2,000 as the amount anyway. So that's a good. Okay. Would someone like to move? Someone else like to move?
I'll move.
Kim, thank you. Do you want to say the magic words?
Yes, I will. So we'd like to approve $2,000 to the Fielding and District Art Society for the affordable after school art classes.
And do we have a seconder for that?
I second it.
Thank you, Sue. All those in favour?
Aye.
And against? That's carried. Okay, so that was application 11. Moved by Kim and seconded by Sue. Excellent, thank you, team. Okay, moving along. Celtic Spirit, or is it Celtic Spirit? Celtic, thank you. Piping for prostate. Alison, 20 points.
Well, I've been to his shows before and they're that's
Fantastic.
it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent.
I think myself that Sharon really undersold herself today. She just comes in very quietly and gently, but actually the hours she puts into putting on an event like this. So she's done in the past. She's not scared of a big event. And you know what she gets paid for it herself?
Nothing.
She does it for the community. She used to do the Suzanne Prentice shows. She's done a number of things over the years, hasn't she? What was when we've had them down at Manfield and the stadium's been full, she's still done it for nothing.
Yeah.
She's very, I mean, she's actually held in very high regard in the piping right across the country. She teaches piping at Boys High and a few other places, but she largely does it for love.
And after I heard her presentation, I was very annoyed with myself.
Were you a bit harsh when you marked that one?
I think so, only because of the price and the budget constraints. Yeah, that was all.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's an interesting point. Maybe in some way we need to communicate that a kind of funding band, that we normally will support, that might be lower than $80,000,
I'd noticed that on the Crowd in New Zealand website, it does have a bit of an indication of the sort of, like say, the band that projects are funded to. So maybe that's something that we can incorporate into
Is
our.
it like sort of 2.5 to 3.5?
I think it varies. I think so somewhere between 4,000 and 8,000. So they'd be right at the top end of the range.
Right. It depends on the district too and how much funding they have.
Yeah. So I mean, even if we sort of utilised their wording, but took it and sort of like averaged it out over, say, like the last 5 years, I don't know if we'd be able to do that or not. But just like this is typically the band that we would approve funding for.
Yeah, most projects get funded within this range.
Yeah, just
Like
give
that.
people more sort of realistic expectations. Having said that, I know that when we do advertise, we sort of give the full amount that's available. So we'll say there's 16,000 available, and then I think some people just go, "Oh, okay, that's 16,000 for me."
Yeah.
Like, hang on, there's other people that want to apply.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I just say, sorry, I haven't got her application open. What was the date she was proposing? I was just thinking of the council's event fund. If it's
Start
in the
date
new financial
17th
year.
September. Yeah.
So if we couldn't fund a enough from here, this would be eligible for the event fund?
Certainly would be eligible, yes.
Would there be a conflict between receiving funding for creative communities and the event fund? Okay, cool.
It was interesting too, I think, Alicia, did you bring this up about the prostate cancer donation
Yeah,
down as a cost of the project?
right, exactly.
And then, but I guess you've got the estimated sales in there as well, so you could have just
Yeah,
minus that out of that, but
right, right. But that kind of pads that up a little bit as far as the expense of the project.
yeah. Hard to guess numbers though, I guess.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, that was an interesting point.
I mean, that's why maybe if we give some, but maybe not the total 8, might be appropriate. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
I do wonder about the viability of moving it from the concert chamber to the stadium. Like, I'd love to think that there'd be lots of people that would want to go along to it, but I think realistically, just noticing from events that I run, is that cost of living is starting to bite. And whether or not they would get the people into the stadium that would make it worthwhile, I do have some concerns around that.
Yeah.
What's the difference in numbers from what? Because the concert changed at 400.
Yeah. So what, double, and this is the third time we're running this event, is that right? Because I'm pretty sure
The last one that I went to, which was a wee while ago now, it became a regional event. I was surprised how many people that were there from out of our district. It's, but as you say, the cost of living's, it particularly appealed to, well, either the older demographic or people that love pipe bands.
Yeah. Okay. So we have approximately 7,000-ish left, 7,1 something rather. So what sort of level do we want to support this project? 3, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3.
Again, would we
and
stay to the
lower amount?
lower amount because of the others that haven't got more than 2?
Yeah.
Can I ask Janina on the side a question again? So if we directed her to the event fund, could she put an application in this financial year for the funding to be, like, could she find out before the end of this financial year that it had been approved for?
No, because it's reliant on that new funding being.
Oh, it hasn't been
available
signed off
1
in the annual plan yet.
Yeah. Because we haven't got any funding remaining.
Event fund, does that become available in July, or is it?
Available 1st of July if council signs up. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go, Alison.
Okay, so I'm going to propose $3,000. Are we on the same page?
Yep.
Okay, well, I will move that we fund Celtic Spirit for $3,000. Can I have a seconder? Thank you, Alison. And those in favour?
Aye.
And against? And that is carried. Which number was that application? 13. Yeah. Great. Okay. And can I get an updated amount remaining?
4,000. 4199.
4199. Well, getting down to the deep end here, guys. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 more applications. Because remember the last one got bumped up. Okay, so formal applications. But we're looking at My Culture Schools exhibition. Kasha? Yeah. I think we probably all felt it this similar, that we kind of wanted to push this up the rankings after we heard Kasha speak, didn't we? Yeah, she was really good, and it just sounds like an amazing opportunity for young people. Does anyone want to speak to their how they've assessed it or anything?
It's a great project. I think they may, it's a good possibility that they will have other funding. Eastern.
Good possibility to get other funding.
Well, I can't predict, but they do have an application with Eastern Central.
Yeah, but they didn't include that. They've taken that out, haven't they, already, of what they can ask for?
Oh, did they, I thought that was, I don't know if they took it out from what they're asking.
They've got it as part of their project income, unconfirmed grant. So if that doesn't get confirmed, then they're looking at about 14K in the hole.
Oh, okay, so they did, oh, I thought that was part of how much they're asking for, which is 4,000.
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I'm just trying to find their application.
I do wonder if there would be any funding through Ministry of Education for stuff like this. Like I'm not an expert, so.
I would think it's extracurricular. Because as she said, they get, what is it? 100 who's still, they get about $100 teacher for
Yeah.
for art supplies.
I'd love to see what the budget or the comparison budget is between that and sports.
Yeah, right, that would be interesting.
Yeah, totally different, eh? Totally different. Okay. 10 mentors, admin.
And I do know teachers that particularly things like art supplies is what they buy themselves for their kids to get a good art experience.
And some I know of have dipped into their own pockets to just get
that's
stuff.
what I mean.
Yeah.
They want their kids to have more access, so they
Yeah.
do it at a
So this application is also being supported by the Fielding District Art Society for in-kind support for their management time and their advertising, which is good. Yeah.
No, I thought it was the Art Society, but it was applying to Eastern and Central.
Okay, so we want to support this, but we don't have a huge amount of money. Do we want to chop this one down? Do we want to fund the full amount and then fund nothing else? Do we want to, you know what I mean? So the decisions we have to make.
What are we up to on the?
4190 remaining. Yeah, the next one is the I can't really talk about the next one, can we, till we finish with this one? But the next one's a smallish one.
Well, we could propose 2,000. Half the amount that she's asking for.
I've got 2,000 as an amount. I'd be happy with that.
I'll be happy with 2,000. Gonna be some missing out though.
Murals.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're meant to do this, but looking at the next application, Kane Reed, the sketching, his is 1747. So if we funded that, and then we would have 2,443 left. So in theory, we could do that, and that would be it. That would be the money.
Can I just ask, I guess being the devil's advocate,
Yeah.
Why would you give an applicant the full amount that's been requested
when it's
based
lower
on-
down.
based on your
Yeah.
previous ones?
Yeah, that's a good point.
It is.
I'd also like to discuss Kane's application in a little bit more detail, just
Okay.
particularly in and around the workshop, and again, kind of alluding back to that one earlier, like if you are selling work and that's potentially earning money.
Okay.
Then, yeah.
All right, well, let's come back to that then. But if we, so then if we just go with kind of what we've been doing, we can just choose a smaller amount for this application. She's asking for 4,004. $2,000 is, well, two people have put $2,000. And that's roughly in line with what we've been doing previously, isn't it? How do we feel about that? I'm assuming that we can go back and rejig amounts if we want to use all of the money up.
You certainly can.
We're not locked into what we've already said so far in terms of amounts.
Can we tweak?
You can tweak.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'd just probably err caution as to how you do that tweaking.
Yeah,
Just
okay.
making sure that particularly your top 5
Yeah.
are getting a higher percentage
Yeah.
of what they've asked for than what your lower 4.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Okay, great. So does someone else who hasn't had a go? Alicia. Yep.
I move that 2,000 be appropriated to my cultural schools exhibition.
And someone to second that?
I'll second that.
Thank you very much, Sue. Appreciate that. All those in favour? And against? Carried. Okay. This is awesome. I haven't had to leave the room yet. It's so good. Okay, let's discuss the 7th application in our rank order. Kane Reid, drawings on paper behind museum quality glass.
What number is he?
Application
Oh, yeah.
10. Yep. The first one in our book, if we're looking at the book, the first one.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
I guess I agree with Ben a bit about, how do you, find the balance between, supporting an artist that wants to display the work and you have to give money to do that.
Yeah.
You need funds. But then again, an artist can show their work without it having to be
Cool. So,
perfectly framed.
Yeah.
I sometimes go to shows and it's not framed at all.
Yeah.
It's just on
Just-
graphic paper.
Just present properly, but not
Yeah.
in the most premium.
Yeah.
A
Because framing can be so expensive.
A2 glass is $16. Museum A2 glass is 80.
Yeah.
I guess the difference is though, it's biro, and Joe can comment on this. If it wasn't behind museum quality glass, it would deteriorate way more quickly than most other mediums, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think
yeah,
so.
definitely.
But
Yeah.
so many people, if you make a purchase, so many people will reframe in any
Exactly.
case. So it's just
Oh,
a very,
not
very-
necessarily.
Oh, yeah, not necessarily,
If
but
you bought a framed piece, you wouldn't take it out of the frame, put it in another frame.
yeah,
Oh, unless you wanted your frame to match your other artwork. but-
Sometimes,
doing it all the
people do.
time.
Oh, okay.
Or they don't like the way that it's framed. They want a different matting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
to
sure,
match the
sure.
color on the wall. I sometimes think it's better to buy a piece. It's up to the person that buys it to frame it the way they want it.
yeah.
Yeah, it's in
And
the,
if they
is a,
bring- And if they bring the work to someone, they'll say, look, this is pen. You're gonna need proper glass behind that. And you go to one of the framing shops,
Yeah.
they'll say that, and then you gotta, there's often framing costs like double the amount of what the artwork costs.
it's not $190 for an A2 piece of A2 framed with the glass.
Mm.
That's not hugely expensive for A2,
Yeah.
but you know what I
That's
mean?
true, That's true.
Yeah, so because I thought it was a lot, and then I looked at the actual numbers. I think because there's 7 glass change to existing frames. There's 7 framed pieces with normal glass, and he's
Right.
putting in archival glass.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess it's a question of, here's a local artist, genuinely sort of
Making a go of it.
making go of
Yeah,
it, works at the gym, like
Yeah, no,
he's,
I think it's great. I
yeah.
think it's great to support someone like that. Not that I'm saying not to.
and it probably brings a different audience to the art society and art in general,
Yeah.
which is a positive.
Yeah.
But then they're going to be selling, what was the price range?
So
1,500 to
he said the
$2.
most expensive he's sold for is $1,700. So I mean, if you had a really lucky time and sold all 14 of those pieces,
Dreaming.
I would love that. But I mean, so like if we average it out, so say it was half that amount, or $800, and you sold 14 of them.
That would still be.
Still quite a good chunk of money.
Still quite a good chunk of money. I'm wondering, like, if with the framing, if there was some sort of recommendation to whoever buys them that these are the frames that they would best be suited in, and to factor that into your purchase. So that way it's not a cost to him as an artist, it's a cost to the buyer. Because you may end up with a case where some of the pieces don't sell and they're in a frame, but then.
But they're an asset for the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can I just say, Elsa, do you need to go?
So, sorry, I've got a funeral to go to, which is at 2:00. So,
Thank you for your time.
So how much funding was left for the last 3?
2190. What do you think?
I was just thinking of the 2 murals. I was just going to chuck in the 2 bits with, we all know where Manchester House was talking about. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Takawa Recreation Centre. It's a shame that perhaps they didn't put some photos or they didn't come and talk to us. It's actually the second biggest community facility sports hall in the Manawatu after the Civic Centre. It's about half the size of the Civic Centre. It's, I don't know, 25, 30 years old. It's getting a bit tired. The indoor area that they're talking about does need freshening up. It's used a lot, but it's next door to the school. It's used by the school a lot. I'm not quite sure what the role of Rongotea School is these days, but Rongotea is the second largest village. It's the largest village outside of Fielding in our district. So just wanted to chuck that in there versus, the mural, Manchester House, which will be enjoyed by people who are visiting Fielding. So I'll leave that one with you. I'm
Thank you,
glad to hear
Elsa.
how it turns out.
Cool.
I'll see what.
You
sorry, I
too.
have to-
Yeah, it is a hard one, isn't it? Because if you displayed pen drawings without being framed, they're going to have a lot less value in people's eyes, and so they're not going to. I don't think they'd be as attractive.
I agree, they've got to be framed.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So do we want to support this application?
I'm happy to support it. My suggested
amount.
My suggested amount was $1,200.
Okay.
I'd be happy to go either side of that, depending on how much we wanted to look at for the murals.
That within our budget. If we did 1,200.
Oh, sorry, what is our current balance?
2190.
Oh, about $1,000.
2190 currently. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I said to fund the full amount, but I did mark this one down a bit. I guess what was the workshop thing too? Like that was a bit vague about how they were going to do that.
It wasn't like, to me, the maths isn't adding up. Like, I mean, it's $30 an hour for 4 hours.
No, so he put in the wrong thing. I think he's put in his fee for doing the workshop. So he wants to get paid $30 an hour.
Yeah.
For 4 hours. He hasn't put in there the income of what people are going to pay to go to the workshop. So he should have put that money up into the costs, project costs.
So that's definitely going to be higher then, isn't it?
Yeah, if we'll say he has 10 people coming paying $50, that's $500.
Yeah.
that's probably a more reasonable amount, right?
Mhm,
So
yeah.
that takes $500 off what he would be asking for. I'm just guessing, but
Mhm.
that's,
Yeah, which is about 1,200 roughly.
okay, so Alicia, you've got quite a small amount in there. Do you think you've got 320?
Yeah.
Or is that because you were trying to balance the books?
No, that's because, why did I do that? I can't remember why. Oh, I think because I was having a hard time with all of these costs of materials.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I was coming from on that, yeah.
Okay. Sure. Okay. So get to the point. Okay, great. Well, like $1,200. Should we support this project for $1,200?
Yeah, sure, why not?
It's a larger percentage than we have for the previous ones, which were higher up the rankings.
Mhm.
So that's my only concern about that. But we could go low, but then we've got a little bit of money left over.
I do think it's important to support an emerging artist like Kane.
Yes.
I think that maybe some encouragement when it comes to some encouragement and advice when it comes to putting in applications would have helped.
Yes.
And that's something that I think we can possibly indicate to them moving forward, just so that it's a little bit more solid. Because there's a lot of details that are sort of like missing.
I think he printed it out and may have thought that box, he only had that space.
All right.
to store,
Okay. Yeah.
Rather than type it into an expanding box.
Yeah.
It was his first time
Yeah.
applying for a grant.
Yeah.
And you said we added a little bit more, but
Mhm.
he's a doer person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think that, you know, definitely supportive of the project. Would have liked to see more details, but I appreciate that as his first application. So, look forward to seeing more in the future.
Okay, great. Well, how about this? I'll move that we fund $1,200 to this application. Is there a seconder? Thank you, Kim. And all those in favour?
Aye.
And against?
It's not just the registry.
That is carried. Thank you, guys. It's quite hard doing this when there's not much money.
Isn't it?
It's harder than when there's lots of money.
But there's nothing wrong for you saying that there was insufficient funding, apply
Yeah.
again in the next funding round.
Sure.
There's nothing will stopping you from doing that.
Yeah.
Which it's really hard because you've got 9 applications. You could have only had 4.
Yeah.
So you could have been in a situation where you were carrying forward money, which
Exactly.
you have been in that
In the past,
situation
yeah.
in other years. So
Okay. So there's 2 more applications. Both of them are conflict of interest for me. So I'm going to leave.
All right, then I'll
Mhm.
sit
You're going to come and take my seat.
Let's see. Excuse me. 990, okay, yeah. Okay, so I guess we'll go, we have 990 left, right? About $1,000. Should we talk about the Manchester House project first and then Takawa next? How do people feel about the
Let's
Manchester? House?
encourage them to reapply another time when we've got more money.
Yeah.
I think it's a nice to have and it will benefit. I mean, it is just an alleyway. And
Yeah.
it'll look great when it's done.
And
But
they're
not
already
now.
painting it as well, aren't they?
Pardon?
They're already painting it as well. I mean, it's the wall is being prepped and.
That's right.
Yeah.
Phase 2 of the Street Art Festival, is there potentially some funding that could assist with that?
if we could get some third-party funding, yeah, definitely.
Is that through Creative New Zealand, is it, or?
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is that council can't apply to Creative New Zealand funding.
Oh, okay, so
it's
it's-
got to be by a trust or another entity.
Right, okay. Could we encourage Manchester House to apply to them?
Manchester House could certainly even apply to Eastern Central Community Trust
Okay,
for funding.
but I guess they would, because both of them combined is, you know, eight grand really you're looking at.
Yeah.
There's even putting a little bit of funding towards it is not going to make a difference. My recommendation would be that you decline the next two, get them to reapply for the first funding round in 23-24, which is only in August. And that you disperse that other funding back to your priorities where you've reduced their.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with that, yeah.
So can I just read that recommendation that the Creative Communities Assessment Committee declines this application for Manchester House and recommends they apply to the next funding round in 2023.
Yeah, and put as the reason due to insufficient funding, which is one of the reasons that Creative Communities give you for declining. That's insufficient.
Yeah.
That would be for both. And then we'll
Get back, Joe. I don't need to put anything on his sheet here, do I, about anything?
No, so we'll just tell them we've declined them in the.
Okay.
So declines application 12 for Manchester House and recommends that they apply to the next funding round 2023-24 due to some insufficient funds. So that is application 12. So you need to move as
Okay, so who motioned it? Was it Janine?
I'm not
she
even
can't.
Oh,
doing it.
okay.
I've read it out.
Okay.
Do you want me to read it again?
Do I have to base, what do you want me to put down for moved by?
I can move it.
Kim?
Yeah.
Okay, so Kim will move it
I'll
and second,
second.
Ben, okay.
Sorry, just a question. Have we got quorum?
Yes, you have.
Okay, so good.
So also, bear with. I'm gonna copy that. And the recommendation is for application 18 for Takara Memorial Recreation Centre, that the Creative Communities Assessment Committee declines application 18 and recommends that they reapply to the next funding round in 2023-24 due to insufficient funds.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So when we're recommending that they reapply and then they apply, do they then become a priority in the next lot, or are they in the shuffle again? Are they like,
They'll go.
they'll just go into the shuffle again? Do we know how much we're going to get in the next funding round? Not yet.
33,000 per annum, so it'll be half of that. So it'll
After
be
that, 16 again.
Yeah.
So what do you?
Due to get some funding back from Tango Moana. Remember Tango Moana, we're going to do the mower, and that hasn't transpired, so they need to refund, return 8 grand. So
Oh,
that'll-
wow.
that'll
Oh,
boost
no,
it.
what a bugger.
Yeah.
I mean, we could take the $900 and put it to one of these murals that they can start the prep work. I mean, that's just, no, not a good idea. Okay.
Even if you talk to Joe,
Yeah,
you do it all within
a certain time frame.
time.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
I was going to suggest going back to our priorities, the money probably best applied to the affordable after school art classes. That's just my, oh, sorry, if I skipped ahead.
Should we
sorry.
move on? Yeah, should we just move on this the last application, the Kawa?
Sorry, can I just put something else in?
Yes.
Sorry. So when we encourage them to reapply, are we really going to encourage them? Like, or but what if they don't? What if people are? It just is what it is, right? Okay.
I mean, Manchester House may go and seek alternative.
Yeah.
alternative
I'm thinking more of
funding.
Kawa.
Yeah.
Anyway. so
Yeah, it's a
carry
real,
on.
it's a real community group. Yeah.
But that's when Megan will work with them and encourage them to To reapply.
Yeah, comms happening, eh?
Yeah.
Social media.
Okay, so should we move that Takawa will be, they should be told to reapply in the next funding round? I motion. And does anyone else want to second it?
I'll second that.
Okay. Alicia and Sue.
So,
Okay, Sue. Okay. Okay, very good. Okay, fantastic. I'll leave being taken.
Thank you, Alicia.
Mhm. Yeah, I was just looking at it before.
yes, just add it to, which one?
Excellent. So did we spend all the money? No.
We've got some left over.
How much have we got left over?
990.
Yep.
Now, I was gonna make a suggestion that maybe that could go towards the affordable art classes. Their total is 4,941, and we approved $2,000, I believe.
Yes.
So
that was our fourth rank.
Yeah.
Okay.
What if we split that between that group and the other art group, Takawa revamp? Wasn't that the other art group? Or-
You're talking about the sixth application, the My Culture Schools exhibition? Or are you talking about the
I was talking about the
weaving?
one where I can't remember her name, she came in and talked to us.
Kezia?
Um,
Kasha, sorry?
Yeah.
Kasha? Yeah. We did 2,000 for Kasha, didn't we?
Yeah, we did 2,000 for that. And then we did 2,000 for affordable art class.
Yeah, I mean, there was the point that Alison made about the kind of rural urban split, that they probably will reach different groups.
Mm.
Yeah, and we might have put the Kasha's application up higher after we'd seen her, you know, her thing. How do we feel about that?
I'd be happy for a split between those two. Yeah.
Between those two? Yes. Kim, are you happy with that? Great. So if we split the remaining balance between 11 and 15. What's that about? 470, 495 each. Is that what it works? Yep. 2495. Yeah, I proposed that is what we do. And
So it was resolved.
Do we
It
need-
was recommended that the remaining funding of $990
be split between application 11
be split evenly.
evenly. Is that unhelpful to do it like that?
Divided.
I think the easiest thing. would
Should we just
be
do an
is
amount?
just, go back to your original resolution and. they
We
just
would
need
have to
do
edit and, yeah, so.
So an amendment to
But you
a,
can do that because you're in the current meeting, so you can change your mind during the meeting without it being an amendment.
oh. No, we don't need a spreadsheet.
You just go back to your original.
So we go back to our original, because originally did we say for application 11, did we say $2,000? Yes, so we're now changing that to 2495. Yeah, that makes it easier than saying we're splitting up the balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it'd be the same for everyone.
And for application 15,
It doesn't matter. It's all you do
it's not a new
is
resolution.
You just ask for the permission of the mover and seconder to move it, to change it, which it's fine, that's procedurally correct.
So the item number 4, the Creative Communities grants $2,495 exclusive of GST to application 11 of Fielding and District. Recommend moved by Kim and seconded by Sue.
Are we in agreement?
Yep.
Yes.
We are.
Cool.
Okay, and the second one was number 15, which was that
My Culture Schools exhibition. Kahui, Aho, or Kawakawa. What was the amount for the second one? Same amount?
so that the Creative Communities Assessment Complete grants $2,445.
$95?
40. Sorry.
$2,495.
Yeah, divide that by 2.
2495.
Yeah, 495. 2495.
So that was moved Alicia and seconded Sue.
Great. Great, thank you. Agreement?
So we don't need that information.
Yes, consideration, were there any late items to consider? No, great. Moving along into the public excluded business. Do we need to do anything to this? I move that we go into public excluded business. Do I have a seconder?
Right.
Thank you, Ben. All those in favour?
Aye.
And against? It's carried.